Hi guys, it's Lucy from Craft Bush and welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how to paint this sweet little teacup full of flowers, perfect for Mother's Day. So let's get started. Today I'm going to be using the Art Philosophy watercolor paints, the pastels, as well as the classics. My paper is the paper cold press. And my brushes today are the DaVinci 00, DaVinci Mop number 2, and the Noble number 4. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make the roses. I just wanted to let you know that I have taught 3 different ways to paint roses over on my Instagram. So I'm going to leave a link below so you can check it out. There's, like I said before, 3 different ways, but let's just have a little recap. And all I did was draw or paint a few little dots, and then I dip my brush in the water, and I'm basically just spreading those little dots, forming C strokes with my brush, and very organically just giving the rose a little shape. So let's try that again. So a few little dots. I'm going to dip my brush in the water, and I'm going to start to spread those little dots all around. It's a very, very loose, simple movement, and it really does give you the illusion of a roses. We can do it one more time. If you want, you can practice these over on a different piece of paper. So here are my little dots. I'm just gonna wet my brush, and actually what I'm doing, I'm also taking a different color in between. I did that with the previous one with the yellow, and this one is the rose. And I'm just spreading that paint all around. Just absorbing a little bit of that water, but once this dries, it gives you such a beautiful texture, and the petals look very pretty. And this is the same method I use for the other card that I will show you at the end. Now, the first thing I did is I quickly sketched a little teacup, and I'm just going to go ahead with my rubber eraser and just take away some of that lead from the pencil. You want to make sure it's very nice and fine. I'm going to start by taking a little bit of that icy sky. It's a really pretty pastel color, and all I'm going to do is start to outline my little teacup. As you remember, we want to start with the lighter color first and then work our way towards the darker color. So right now I'm just going to outline the little teacup with very translucent, barely there. And as we progress, we're going to go into our darker colors. So I am going to use some of that pretty pool party color. This particular set by Art Philosophy, the pastels, is such a pretty set of colors. So now I'm going to just outline the little teacup with that pretty color, and I am concentrating on the outer areas and just giving the little teacup the illusion of a convex shape. And as you can see, I'm leaving the very top without any paint at all, because that's where we are going to have our little flowers cascade downwards onto our little teacup. So you want to leave that part blank, and as well as the center of the cup, you want to leave a little highlight without any paint. So I'm just going to continue to work on adding a little bit of color And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to start creating the little flowers. I'm taking some of that pretty crimson, and just like I showed you before, we're going to just do a few little dots. We're going to take some citrus and a little bit of the lemonade. This is going to give us a nice peachy shade. And we're going to just do little C strokes all around those little dots to create a pretty little rose. I'm going to take some water and just spread that paint all around. And this is such a simple way to create flowers and roses, and it's just so pretty once you have a nice little bunch all together. I'm going to go ahead and use some of that paint already on my brush. Take a little bit of that rose, and I'm going to just paint another rose. You can paint as many or as little as you want. I'm going back and taking a little more crimson just to add a little shadow. Towards the end of the video, you will see how I created an entire card just using the same method of the little roses, and I think it looks so pretty. And again, it's so easy. You want to just maybe practice on a different piece of paper before you commit, or just go for it. Take a look and see what works better, but usually sets of 5s or 7s will look really pretty. At this point, I'm just going to add a little bit of just little dots, and these are going to be a little bunches of yellow flowers, just to create a little more texture. I'm just adding little dots here and there. Last week I did a video of some lilacs, and it's the same similar movement, so just making little dots into forming a bit of a triangle or a little cone. You can go back and take a look at that video, and I think I am going to perhaps add a little bit of a different color. Before I do, I'm going to use some green and some cocoa. I'm going to add a few leaves to this, to our little teacup bouquet. So just a couple little leaves. Just wanted to let you know that I also have made this particular painting available for you to print as a Mother's Day card, if you're interested, of course. So I'm going to leave a link to the blog below so you can go ahead and download it, or you can paint your own. It really is not too hard, but it looks just so pretty. I'm just adding a little bit of a shadow on the leaves by I touched a little bit of that green that was already a little bit of that brown that was already on the palette. Just adding a little bit of a shadow again. If you do visit my blog, you can see a close-up of the colors and you can always use it as a reference. That's also a great idea. I'm just going to clean my brush, and I am going to use some blue and a little bit of purple. And just like I was talking about the lilacs last week, I'm just adding a little bit of gray to this just to tone it down a little bit. I think I'm going to add a little lilac on top here just to add a little more color. And really I'm just doing little dots and forming them into a cone shape or triangle shape. I'm going to repeat myself again, but if you haven't seen the video from last week where I painted the lilacs, it's the same idea. I'm just taking the number 4 brush just because it gives me a finer point, and I'm just adding a little more detail to this. I'm taking a little bit of that lilac rain. This is such a pretty palette. I know I keep saying it again, but it's so pretty. And I'm going to have a link to all the materials at the bottom in case you're interested. I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow with the purple from the Classics palette. Just little dots here and there. This can be not necessarily lilacs, but it could be the same idea for lavender, or there's one that's very similar to lavender, but I can't remember the name. But just the same simple movement, little dots. And I take some of that brown that's already on my palette and just going to draw a few more leaves. I'm just going to start and create just a deeper outline around the little teacup. And I should probably tell you that once I was done this particular area, I realized that the paper was a little too dry. So the line was a little too harsh for my own preference. So you'll see that I try to blend it. It really is up to you. I think I find working with watercolor and keeping the paper constantly with a little bit of moisture is a lot better, but that's my own preference. So here I'm trying to work that paint onto the paper because I prefer when it's just a little more translucent. I'm just going to go ahead and add a little more shadow to the outside of the teacup. and just leaving, of course, the middle as a highlight and just putting some shadows underneath the flowers, on the handle, and at either side. I'm just blending that all in. And now we're starting to work towards the darker colors. I think what I want to do now is add a little shadow at the bottom of the little teacup. So I'm taking my mop brush and just wetting the paper. I'm going to take a little bit of that gray, just a touch, clean my brush a little bit, and then just quickly add that shadow underneath. That just gives it a little more whimsy. I'm going to add just a tiny bit more shade underneath the flowers and at either side, and a little more highlight by using my white. And of course I'm going to put the highlight in the center and a little bit along the handle of the teacup. I just want to add a little more color to the teacup. This is fine the way it is. I just wanted a little more of that pretty blue on there. Now I'm going to go back and just add a few little more details to the roses, and just add a little bit in the center, just here and there. Just a little more detail. It really isn't that necessary, and I've mentioned this before, it's important to know when to stop, because sometimes you can overdo your painting by adding a little too much detail. This type of painting that I do is it's not as loose as modern flowers, but it's still pretty abstract. So you don't want to add too much detail. I'm going to just add a few little leaves here and there. And a little more shadow. I think this painting is pretty much done. I really hope you enjoyed it. I want to remind you that I have this as a free printable in the form of a card over at my blog, and I also want to show you the card that I was referring to before with the roses. So all you have to do is take a piece of paper, and then you're going to block the middle of your paper with a piece of tape or washi tape, and then you just paint all your pretty roses all around with the piece of the tape. And then you remove it and you're left with this really pretty card. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you did like the video, please consider giving this a thumbs up. Subscribe for more, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!